This is a story that I shared with one of my friends the other day when they weren't feeling so hot about themselves because they were measuring themselves by their results. Okay, you know who you are, you know I love you dearly, my dear, dear giant. Okay, so I believe in telling stories to create change. I believe in telling stories just like Jesus told stories and parables and all the great teachers did, even Buddha. And stories are powerful. So here is a story from me. It's about the greatest giant who ever lived. Once upon a time, there was a giant. Tall, strong, everything a giant should be. And the coyote came to the giant and said, "Giant, can you hang the moon for me?" And the giant smiled and loved to do things for his friends. So the giant gladly picked up the moon and put it up in the sky. And then the moon said, "I'm lonely, giant. Can you at least give me some stars?" So the giant, he grabbed all the beautiful diamonds he could find in his cave and he threw them up into the sky. And then came the ham, the pig. He wanted to see what the giant could do. So he said, "Giant, can you reach the thing on the top shelf for me?" And the giant looked at the shelf and he said, "Of course." He grabbed the thing off the top shelf for the pig, and the pig said, "Now can you open it for me?" The giant opened it. And then came the birds, and they said, "Giant, can you put our nests back in the tree?" And the giant did. And this happened for many days and months. It went on, the giant picking up things and putting them up high, or picking things up that were up high and bringing them down low for his friends. And the giant grew very tired. And the giant tried to sleep, but the owl came, and the owl bothered the giant and said, "Giant, can you do this? Can you do that?" So finally the giant played a trick, because the giant just needed some time. The giant found a closet. And the closet was huge, the size of England, but unfortunately the giant was much larger. And the giant went into this closet. He curled himself tight into a ball and went into this tiny closet so he could just take a moment for himself. He closed the door and he curled up tight in this giant closet that was so tiny to him. And he began to imagine that he was so small. At first he imagined himself as small as a mountain. And then he thought about it and he's like, "No, I want to be smaller. Mountains are still big comparatively." So the giant began to imagine he was even smaller than the mountains. He began to imagine that he was smaller than trees, and he noticed how small this closet felt he was getting. And he began to think that he really was small and tiny, until he felt as small and as tiny as a little ant. And the giant began to believe, after a while, that he was this small, that he was this tiny, that nobody would like him if he couldn't help them, that nobody would like him if he wasn't, hanging the moon and the stars in the sky. And the giant became sorry and sad and began to feel like he wasn't a giant at all. Because what makes giants are those who truly help others. You become more giant in life and in your own life as you help others. But the giant had forgotten that he helped people, forgotten that he did these things, and he felt small and began to think that nobody would like him if he wasn't a giant at all, and he began to feel, oh, so, so small. Now here's the thing. Inside of you is a giant, and sometimes in life, you're going to hang the moon and the stars for people, and sometimes in life you're going to do great and amazing things. And sometimes in life you're going to get tired, and you're going to need a break. And for you to have this break, you're going to have to hide away a little bit. Go into your own little closet, your own little world. And you'll notice that things around you sometimes seem so small. And you feel like your life is so small because you forget that outside is this great big world that you're a part of. And you're this great big thing in your own life. You are the center stage, the main character in your own life. You're playing a huge part in your life. You're the lead character. So open the door, come out of the closet, and realize that you are still a giant. No matter what you've been through, no matter what you're going through, inside of you is a tall, strong, incredible giant or giantess, and you can hang the moon, and you can hang the stars, and you can open pickle jars, because that is who you are. So anyway, that's a quick story. Never judge yourself by your results, present or past. The only thing you need to judge about yourself is judge daily that whether or not you are in a place to be giving, or whether or not you need to be in your closet and give to yourself, because giving to yourself is just as important, if not more, than giving to everybody else. Isn't it? Because how can you be a giant unless you yourself are full? A giant cannot be starved, or a giant wouldn't grow to be a giant. Or you'd make a very puny giant at that. So do not starve yourself for your own affection and your own time and attention. Give to yourself daily, because you are powerful, and you can hang the moon, the stars, and open pickle jars. Anyway, that's my little parable of the day.